If your pistol squat looks more like trust falls, then we need to talk. Pistol squat is one of those fundamental lower body skills that you see in calisthenics and also used for working out in gymnastics and in parkour. It is impressive, but actually way easier to get than you think. It's very straightforward, but there are a lot of very small common mistakes that might be preventing you from getting the pistol squat. Let's start from the beginning to the end with common mistakes, progressions, and actually how to make sure that you get the pistol squat. Now, we use it all the time here at Awesome Ninja Fitness as the fundamental move for our lower body. It's also used in our conditioning, in my gymnastics, parkour, and ninja warrior groups. Why is the pistol squat more difficult than a regular squat or a weighted squat? That's because there are other elements that might fail instead of just lifting the weight. In the squat with weight, you either have your technique or your muscles are going to fail. In the pistol squat, since it's one leg, there are other factors in play. Quad and glute strength, ankle mobility, knee stability, and also your core and balance. There are multiple pieces all being put together, and if one of those things are off, well then the pistol squat becomes extremely difficult. Those are also the reasons why we use them here at Awesome Ninja Fitness, because you're hitting multiple things at the same time. But if you're lacking any of those things, then it becomes very difficult. So how do we actually build up all those things to make sure you get it? Well, the easiest way is through progressions. The easiest way to do that is follow progressions that actually work. So your goal is to get to the one-legged squat as quickly as possible, starting with the full range deep squat. Because as you can see, a pistol squat versus a regular squat, we are getting pretty much our hips all the way down to the grass. You're almost touching your heels. If you're unable to do that, well then mobility work is something that you need to work on first. But you can start with the bodyweight squats until you get the deep squat as well as mobility work. If you join the free community or those who are in the community at the live call right now, that is the reason why in the workout plan that you get absolutely for free, you can go ahead and find it there. That's why our warm-up is always mobility, and our off day we have some sort of mobility, and the animal movements also help as well. But once you get until the deep squat, then your next step is to get the assisted pistol squat. Basically, you're using anything you need to help you go all the way down and all the way up. The TRX bands or the gymnastics rings that we use for our muscle ups and for most of our training, that will help as well. But if you don't have access to that, a pole, a wall, a door frame, anything that helps you get all the way down and all the way up, using as much assistance as you need to get down and up. Next is you're using a box. This makes sure that your hip mobility on the other leg that's not being used is not a factor, and you completely focus on technique, stability, and position. Your knees and hips should almost be a straight line with your ankle. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect because everyone's joint and body's a little bit different, but if you see that clear angle in or out, there's something kind of off. It's either your mobility or your body's overcompensating for some reason. Your chest and body should also be completely up. If you're leaning forward, then you're overcompensating for the hips, and eventually when you get to the full pistol squat, you won't be able to. So let's fix it here at the box pistol squat. I do want to fix it here in these first two progressions. The next step is pistol squat negatives. You're combining this with step one, and what I mean by that is you're going down completely on your own, and then you can use the assistance to make sure to get yourself back on the top. This helps you set you up for the next step, which are counterweight pistol squats. Now, just to make sure that it's a little bit easier on your balance, you are grabbing some sort of weight. It doesn't have to be much, something like a 5 kilogram or less, or you're holding it out on your hands to help you counterbalance so you can focus completely on the strength. Finally, you're doing the full range pistol squat. Even though these progressions seem very straightforward, I would suggest that you stay at the boxed pistol squat for a very long time, and that is perfectly fine. That's because you want to make sure that your strength is completely there. Once you can do the full pistol squat pretty much up and down from the box, then you can lower that box slowly and slowly and slowly until you're closer to the ground. At this point, you're skipping step 3 and step 4 if you have the availability of various heights. But that's how we can do it in only 3 steps instead of 5 steps. Now, here are a couple of mistakes. One is you have poor ankle mobility. Well, that's something that's going to have to be fixed long term. First, you continue to work on the progressions of the pistol squat you can. 2, you're working on ankle mobility, which we've talked about a little bit, but we can dive deep further in the Q&A that we'll have after this live call. And 3rd, you can add something onto your heels. So something as just a weight plate or even a little piece of wood will elevate your heels, which does make it a lot easier. That also works with regular squats for those who have ankle mobility issues. There are also squat shoes that lift your heels a little bit more for that to be less of an issue as well. The other 2 ones is which your knees are caving in or out, which shows huge instability, and another one is which your chest is lowering down, which means you're using your hips a lot more, which long term isn't what we want. In both those cases, You should be filming yourself, just like we suggest for any skill that you are doing, in order to see if you're doing the proper technique, or you're working with a coach such as myself who can tell you if your technique is off. And third, making sure that you're actually following the progressions properly. We want quality first. If you want to train it as quickly as possible as a strength move, then it relies very well on low reps, lots of sets. So we're looking at that 6 to 8 rep range. Ideally here at Awesome Ninja Fitness, we like to do that 12 rep range just because it hits a lot of different boxes. But if you're following the program, I would aim for 12. If you want to progress as quickly as possible, then I go between 6 and 8. If you're following the program and you feel like technique is off, meaning any of those common mistakes are there, you're aiming for 12 to make sure that technique is squat on. If all the techniques are perfect and you are ready to progress faster, then you can start doing 6 to 8, which allows you to do the higher progressions a little bit faster. Also, when you're working on these progressions, you can do the same technique we do in all the other programs and all the other bodyweight skills, is you do the highest version that you can until you're unable to do that, and then you go to the lower progression. Ideally, with the pistol squat, it is a lot easier to progress from one move to the other to make sure you hit your target number. The last trick to progress even faster is to work on balancing drills. For those a part of the program, you know that we like to do lower body balancing on beams or on rails, very similar that you would see in parkour. That's because we want to work on our lower body as well. And we know that balancing can be a limiting factor in the pistol squats. There is a lot of regular movements that you do in our traditional fitness in which being able to balance your own body is not a limiting factor, is not something that you train. So I strongly suggest that on your skills days that you also work on your balance. That means balancing on one leg, balancing with one leg where the other one is at different positions, where you're at different elevations, so you're squatted, you're higher up, and also doing it with your eyes closed. Then slowly going on other surfaces such as a piece of wood, a beam, or even a bar. The reason why this should help faster, even if you don't want to do all these awesome bodyweight skills like we do here, such as the muscle up, the handstand, levers, planches, flips, is just because you are limited on how many times you can do the pistol squat for a strength side of it. If you're working hard enough, you should not be able to work on the pistol squat as a full workout within 24 hours. You should need at least 24 hours rest. If not, then that means your reps, your rest, your sets, or your progressions are really off. So you need to change that. So in between, if we want to progress as quickly as possible, then we can work on our mobility on our days off, such as the ankle mobility, knee mobility, and hip mobility to make sure that we get the full range of motion, and the balancing, which is something you can do very easily and should not burn out from just balancing on one leg. So as you can see, pistol squats are not just about strength. Now they have impressive strength, but it also has flexibility, mobility, control, and even precision. And you can even move it up to different locations to show how impressive they are. And there are even more steps after that, such as the dragon squat and so much more. So if you have any questions, those here on the live call who are part of the community, we're going to go into our live Q&A asking any questions related to the pistol squat or anything else related to your specific training. For those here on the internet, I really hope the pistol squat helps. It is awesome. It is going to make you look awesome. So all you got to do is also stay awesome.